Long ago, in the land of Israel, a battle was brewing. The army of Israel stood trembling on one hill, while on the opposite hill stood their enemies, the mighty Philistines. Between them lay the valley of Elah. Every morning and every evening, a giant came forward from the Philistine camp. His name was Goliath. He was over 9 feet tall, a warrior from birth. His armor was made of bronze, heavy and gleaming. He carried a massive spear whose shaft was as thick as a weaver's beam, and the iron tip alone weighed as much as a man's arm. Goliath's booming voice echoed across the valley. "Why do you line up for battle? Choose one man to fight me. If he kills me, we will become your servants. But if I prevail, you will serve us." Day after day, Goliath mocked the army of Israel and the God they served. Fear filled every soldier's heart, including King Saul himself. But one day, a young shepherd named David came to the camp. David was the youngest of 8 brothers, and he had been sent by his father Jesse to bring food to his older brothers, who were soldiers in the king's army. As David arrived, he heard the giant shouting his insults. Instead of fear, anger rose in David's heart, not anger born of pride, but of holy courage. He asked, "Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God?" His words spread quickly until they reached King Saul. David was brought before the king, and he said, "Let no one lose heart on account of this Philistine. Your servant will go and fight him." Saul was astonished. "You are only a youth. He has been a warrior from his youth." But David replied, "Your servant has been keeping his father's sheep. When a lion or a bear came and carried off a sheep, I went after it, struck it, and rescued it from its mouth. The Lord who delivered me from the paw of the lion and the bear will deliver me from the hand of this Philistine." Saul agreed, but he tried to dress David in his own armor. The bronze helmet, heavy coat of mail, and sword weighed David down. He shook his head and said, "I cannot go in these, for I am not used to them." Instead, David took his shepherd's staff, his sling, and 5 smooth stones from the brook. With these, he approached the giant. Goliath laughed when he saw him. "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks? Come here, and I'll give your flesh to the birds of the air." But David answered with faith and boldness, "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hand, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. For the battle is the Lord's, and he will give all of you into our hands." As the giant moved closer, David ran quickly toward the battle line. He reached into his bag, took out a stone, placed it in his sling, and hurled it with all his might. The stone flew straight and struck Goliath on the forehead. The giant staggered, then crashed face first to the ground. David had no sword, but he ran to Goliath, drew the giant's own blade, and cut off his head. When the Philistines saw their champion fall, they fled in fear, and Israel chased them in victory. That day, God used a young shepherd boy with faith to topple a warrior giant. But the story does not end there. It continues with you. Because just as David faced Goliath, you too will face giants. They may not wear armor or carry a spear, but they will rise up to challenge you. Fear may shout across your valley. Doubt may mock your faith. Temptation may whisper that you are too weak. Giants of sickness, financial struggle, broken relationships, depression, or guilt may stand tall, daring you to fight. And like Israel's army, you may feel afraid. Like Saul, you may think you are not enough. But listen again to David's words. The battle is the Lord's. You may feel small, but God is great. You may feel unprepared, but God is already victorious. David remembered how God delivered him from the lion and the bear, and that memory gave him courage for the giant. You too can look back on God's faithfulness in your life. Times He carried you, times He answered prayer, times He gave strength when you had none. Those memories are your weapons of courage. David did not use Saul's armor, for it did not fit him. He used the tools God had already placed in his hands. In the same way, you do not need to be someone else or to fight in someone else's way. God has given you your own sling and stones, your faith, your prayer, your gifts, your talents, and His word. So when your giant rises, do not shrink back. Do not let fear chain you to the sidelines. Run toward it, declaring as David did, "You come against me with sword and spear, but I come in the name of the Lord Almighty." And when you do, you will see what David saw. Giants fall, not by your strength, but by the strength of the God you serve. Yes, your giant can fall too.